Welcome to the Strangers on the Way podcast. I'm so excited for you all to meet today's guest, Donna Bultinck. Donna, how long ago did I meet you? Were you
I
18?
was 19.
19, and now you're 26.
Yep.
So quite, what, 7 years?
7 years. Yeah.
It's been amazing to watch you just blossom in 7 years. I met Donna through our young adult girls group. How did you hear about our girls group initially?
I heard it from Kristen Schmeg, also known as Del Valle. So she brought me into Yaz.
Love it. Yes, our group is called Yaz, which stands for Young and Sassy, which is a funny name. But our leader, how did it even start that way? I'm not quite sure.
I don't know.
But we are young and sassy,
Hmm.
right? Even our leader.
Yes.
So, oh, it's so fun. Well, Donna, I'm so excited to have people get to know you today, to hear a bit about your story and to see like where you are right now. Donna is a woman of great wisdom. She has walked through the fire in many, many ways in her life, and I would say is one of the biggest overcomers that I've ever known. And she's funny. She's witty and she's funny and she's creative. And so I'm hoping everyone gets to see all sides of her today on the podcast. So, Donna, do you want to start just sharing a little bit about who you are, what you love, where you're at, anything you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah. So, um, well, I just moved to Florida. So I've been in Chicago or a suburb of Chicago my whole life. And I just recently just transitioned to Florida. So I'm feeling all settled here. Which I love the weather because I get to play pickleball outside in the
Fun,
sun. I'm a
fun.
big pickleball enthusiast.
Love it.
Um, I call us picklers. So
Oh, do you have team t-shirts?
I do not, but I call everybody who plays pickleball a pickler.
I love that.
Uh, so there's actually a lot of people that play down here that like I'm excited to like start to get to know people so I can like start doing tournaments.
Yeah.
Like just like fun tournaments between friends and like cookouts.
Yeah.
Um, and then I love Taylor Swift. I'm a Swiftie.
I
Um,
love that.
I love her. So
Did you go
yeah,
to any of your shows or like trade any bracelets or anything?
I did. So I went to her Chicago show when she was in Chicago. I traded bracelets. I went to her movie twice. If I could have gone more, I would have. And I have tickets to go see her in Germany for next summer with my
Wow.
best friend who lives out there.
Wow.
So like we can't wait for that.
Amazing. Sounds
Yeah,
like a trip of a lifetime.
right. Like, and her movie does come out on streaming services in 2 days. So you will
Okay.
be seeing me watching that, hopefully to own it,
I love
not just
that.
rent it. So
That's so fun.
yeah.
What draws you to Taylor Swift? I've been really fascinated. I don't really listen to her music, but people seem to love her like I like Drake. So, yeah, what like draws you to her? Why do you think she's such a world like
Like
phenomenon?
sensate.
Sensation, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I grew up listening to her because when I first heard her song is when I started getting into like country music.
Hmm.
Um, I was probably 10 and her song Our Song came on the radio and I was like, this is a bop. Like my mom loved it, my sisters loved it, and it's just like something in the car that we like to sing to.
Hmm.
Because we listened to pop music my whole life and then we started like listening to country music. Um, like well I did. So then I made my whole family do it because we drove one car.
Yeah.
And just I did like grew up with her during her Fearless like album and I like those songs and I just started to grow up like with her, so it's cool to just see like her grow and like in her musical stuff and then just like I don't know, to be like I wanted to go to one of her shows and I couldn't when I was like 12 and to be able to go 14 years later is like just something I've always wanted. So,
Yeah. It's beautiful. I
yeah.
love that. I love that. Um, yeah, it's interesting how like when you like an artist when you're young, how you're growing up with them as they're growing up too. So
Yep.
it is it is
It's
amazing.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm also a fan of rap. Most people don't know that. I love rap
You
music.
like Drake?
I do like some of his songs, but I'm more of an Eminem girly.
Okay.
So I love Slim Shady, Eminem, Marshall Mathers, however you want to address him as.
I
Um,
love that.
he is like I will listen to his albums from like the 90s
Yeah.
because
Back
that's
in
what I grew up on too. Yeah, like cleaning out my closet, like that's right there. I could like rap every word.
you rap that while you're cleaning out your closet?
No, I'll be rapping that on the way to church.
Yeah, I get it. I totally. I think it's amazing how music speaks to our soul, like regardless of the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting actually. God has been waking me up like in the morning with songs. And it's like Celine Dion and U2 and like all these songs like from the 90s. But the words, like I love words. And so I look up the words and it's like all these love songs. There's a Bible verse that says he sings over us. And I literally think he like sings over us with each other's songs. Like that's what when we're creating something, like I don't know. It's like us being in our fullest version of who he made us to be, and then it blesses like everyone around us. And I know you're really creative. What are some things that you like enjoy creative wise, like sharing with the world?
I have been a big fan of music my entire life. I feel like I started like when I was probably 8. I got to learn the viola, which is something in like the
Oh,
orchestra.
cool.
And I played that until I was 18. Once I graduated high school, I didn't do it in college, but I still wanted to play an instrument, so I just started learning guitar.
Hmm.
Um, so I feel like music is like something that has been through like a consistent throughout my whole life. That like that's how I feel God. Like I love worship songs. I love like that's when I feel His presence the most. And I feel like that's just like how I feel. Like if I want to express something, like I could probably do it in a song. Like
Yeah.
picking out a song or like, oh my gosh, those words like really cut deep, from that song. Or like, that's how I'm feeling.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think like music is probably one of them, and then probably like some art stuff. I used to take art classes back in the day, and the saying like if you don't use it, you'll lose it is a real saying because I can probably pick up a pencil and like I can't draw anything that I used to be able to draw back in
Mm,
high school. So, but
wow.
yeah, I
That's
just
amazing.
like love some of that stuff. So,
I know you have had to walk through a lot in your life. Did music and art like was that an outlet for you, or did it help you heal, or just like as you're walking through like the fire?
probably music more than art, than like art.
Mhm.
I know like in my teen years, that's like when I first got like an iPod Touch. So like that was like my first kind of like outlet of like being able to like go on walks and listen to like angry music.
Mhm.
Um, I started probably like between of the ages of like 13 to 15. I was like really into Linkin Park and 3 Days Grace, which are very like alternative bands. But if you like listen to like some of like what they're saying, like I would like be walking after like having a fight with my mom or like fight with her like boyfriend. I'm just like, yeah, this is how I feel. Like this, like I can't express how I'm feeling right now, but this music can. And so that's just a way like I would connect to things. And now like music is like just a big part of like anything. Like I will put music on if I'm feeling sad or happy or angry, and so it was like one of the outlets because you can take music anywhere,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. It's amazing how powerful it is, and it like connects our right and left brain, and so it's really neat even that you use music to like express how you were feeling and find how you were feeling. Like
Yeah,
that's really powerful.
yeah, it's actually crazy because when I accepted like Christ into my life, it was during like worship.
Really?
Like,
Tell me about that.
so I was at summer camp at the good old SBR, and the message, like, my leader was talking about the same thing that the message was talking about earlier that day, and I was feeling the Holy like Spirit, but it was just like this one song that they sang. It's called "Lamb of God" by a Vertical Worship Band, and I was just like seeing the words and I was like, oh my gosh, like God, like this is me. Like you literally died for me. Like you are the Lamb of God, like dying for me. Like please, like just come into my life. Like I'm sorry. And so it was like really powerful because I wasn't someone who raised my hands. Like, and my sister and my one friend that were in front of me like looked back and just saw my hands raised, and I was just like bawling. And they knew something had happened because they knew like she doesn't do this type of thing. So
Wow. Well,
yeah.
so you just in worship, you kind of had this realization of like, wow, like this is how loved I am.
Kind of. I forget how like the lyrics go, but it was something I was like super depressed in that time. Like my thing was that I was going to go to summer camp because summer camp's fun, right? You go tubing, you go ziplining, you do all these fun things. I was like, this will be my last thing that I'm going to do because I was like planning on killing myself. Like when I got home, like that was going to be it. I wasn't going to attempt. I was going to succeed this time. And I was like the second day at camp and I was just talking to my leader of just like, you think like God forgives you for like trying to like kill yourself? Because I've tried in the past.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, like God forgave Paul, and Paul was literally killing Christians. Like he was Saul, and then he became Paul, and he's like someone who like wrote, what most of the New Testament, like. And I was like, oh, okay, so like if he can forgive him, like I can be forgiven too.
Wow.
And like Dave Bricky was like talking something similar along those lines of like using like one of like Paul's books, and I was just like, dang, like I was just really feeling the Holy Spirit. Like I'm a feeler, so like I feel the Spirit.
Mhm.
And just like doing that song of just like the lyrics were just like hitting me, and it was just like, you would die for me, yet
Wow.
like and all this stuff, and I was like, I don't know, I like accepted him, and like all of a sudden like the darkness went away, like the thoughts of like wanting to die like went away instantly, like just felt like a burden was like lifted off my shoulders. So
Wow. That's
yeah,
really powerful. And then you wanted to live?
yeah,
Wow. Wow. Wow.
like not for probably like a year and a half, I like didn't really deal with anything like not like depressive episodes. I didn't deal with that for a while, and then like life started to happen again, and like some days I do like I feel like depressed, but I just feel like it's very like based on my circumstances,
Mm,
And so like I don't feel like I ever like want to like die. I mean, sometimes I have like those thoughts will run through my head because I feel like in a way I know like this is an easy way out, right? Like
mm,
I know where I'm going to go after this life, and I don't
mm,
want to deal with this hard stuff anymore. That like I would rather go be in heaven so that I can just take care of that right now.
mm.
But then there's always something that stops me of just like, but if you did that, like you're not living up to your full potential.
Yeah.
Like what about the people that like are still in this world?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
When you feel like those thoughts come, and I know there's like spiritual forces that are also speaking to us, like how do you walk through that? Because I think people hear stuff like that more often than we might think. And so like how do you connect with God? Like what do you say to yourself? How do you kind of like get yourself through that like depressive moment or those thoughts that are kind of like coming in?
um I kind of like just reach out to people that I can talk to. Like in the like faith community, like I won't go talk before I moved to Florida, like I used to have like all these like bad friends. Like I won't go talk to them about it. Um but I will go talk to like my friends like at church who are like, hey, like can we just pray for you? Like, hey, like you gotten through this before and stuff like that. And it's just like constant like little reminders, and then like God like always kind of like just shows up in a way like, hey, like you are here for a reason. Like it's okay. So it's been like a process because like I'm not perfect at it. Like sometimes I still get into that like hole, but I've definitely tried to like I feel like right now like I'm working on like, hey, like your circumstances are going to change, but like I'm not. Like God's not going to. And
Yeah.
so I feel like that's just something in life that I'm just like learning about is that like my faith used to be like up and down. Like I'm either when things are like really good in my life, like yes, praise God. hallelujah, but like when things are bad, I'm just like, where are you? Like, do you care? Do you see me? Like, you suck. Like, I want nothing to do with you. And it's just like, why is it that my circumstances like change the way like I see God when like obviously he's like the same today, tomorrow, yesterday, like and stuff like that. And it's just like when I think I have this like viewpoint. I'm just like when I accepted God, like my life would be easy, and it has been far from easy. Like it doesn't matter. Like I've been a Christian for 8 years, and I've still gone through hard stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like learning now that like you're going to go through hard stuff because it's going to produce other things that like you're going to need.
Mm.
So, so
Donna, that's really, really wise. It's like that is how we grow in some ways, right?
yeah,
Like and build for what is to come. Yeah,
right.
that's so powerful. So let's say there's someone listening who is maybe around your age or younger, struggling like literally every day, waking up with like kind of the cloud and all that stuff. Like, what would you tell them?
Um, I would probably tell them just like surround yourself with people who are going to speak life into you. Um, and then also just like pray. You can pray that stuff away. Like I believe in like praying for those thoughts to go away and um, for those things to just like leave, and even just have people pray for you that pray like that. Um, I will never forget like Lisa. Um, what's your name? Dr. Lisa
Yeah,
something.
Dr. Lisa. Hmm.
Yeah, she one time like I'm probably I was depressed and like looked into my eyes, like stared into my eyes, the window of your soul, okay, and like was praying, and I was feeling things like leave my body, like, and it's because I was surrounded by people that like, hey, like we're gonna pray for you, and like we're gonna call these things out, and like so I would just say like get surrounded by people and just like reach out, like there's no harm in that. Like people would rather listen to you like talk today versus like hearing about your story at your funeral, like
Yeah,
so, and there's people like always willing to pray for you, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Let's
So
say I think like COVID kind of a lot of people isolated or like they're in their homes and they're not really going out and um so for people that are like might not have a community yet, how do you build one?
well, I am actually learning that. So I feel like just like you just have to show up, right? Like I have to show up to the church. If I want friends, I have to show up to young adults. I have to, and not just show up and like be there, but like show up and like talk to people and get out of your comfort zone. It's going to be hard. Like I don't want to say it's easy because trust me, like it's not. I struggle with it every Sunday. I go to church, but like just showing up and like getting plugged in, and like there will be someone that's going to invite you. They're not going to leave you alone. Like if they notice that you're new, they're going to be like, hey, like do you want to join, come sit with us, or X, Y, and Z. Like people are going to like see you. um so just like taking that just like step into like getting plugged in, I feel like is like a big thing, especially coming out of COVID. Like it's huge. So
Good. So good. So you were in Chicago and you moved to Florida. Tell
mm-hmm.
us about that. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, so I was really just uh like joking around with a friend. I was like, I'll move. Like I have nothing holding me back. Like there's nothing, I don't say there's nothing in Illinois for me, but there's like nothing in Illinois for me. Like sure, do I have friends? Yes. They'll always be there. But there's like nothing holding me. Like I don't have a job that was like holding me there. I don't have children. I don't have a spouse. Like I'm 26, like I can go wherever I want. And like was joking around with that, and then I actually like I got into a car accident, which this plays a part into the story, but like a week before, my friend was like, hey, are you still considering moving? And I'm like, well, kind of. Like I don't have a car. like how I'm going to move my stuff, without a car. And they're like, just fly. And I'm like, with my stuff? I was just like my stuff did not fit in the car that I have. Like I had to have someone bring more stuff of mine. Like, so I was like, that's just not going to work. And it was just like, I don't know what I should do. Because I was like going back and forth, and I was just like, all right, like I'll go visit. So I came to Lakeland, 24 hours, like got off a plane, spent 24 hours, got back on a plane. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I could like see myself here. Like it's not so bad. The summer is a little hot, but it's fine. Um, I was like, all right, I think I could like make a way to like maybe move here. And probably like a week and a half, like after like saying yes, like I got a car from a pastor at the church. Like I was like, okay, I think this is like God showing me, and then just getting down here of just like with like the safety of my trip, and like I don't know, just like being here, and like I already have a community. Like I've been here for 6 weeks. I'm already getting plugged in, like getting community, and like just like stepping into that. So yeah, I feel like God has some stuff down here for me. I just am like in the process of figuring that out.
Yeah, it's new. It's awesome that you got plugged in like right away and committed like to a place.
Yeah, it was definitely a struggle because I do struggle with the isolation part. Like, I'm someone who hates change. I don't
Yeah.
want anything to change. I like how things are. I like routine, like, and that's just like who I am as a person. And to like pack up my car and like, I'm not just changing like my house, I'm changing my house, the state, like my routine, my church, my community, like everything is changing at once. And it was like a huge adjustment. But I was like, okay, if I know anything, like I have to get plugged in, because if I have a community, like I'll feel a little bit more settled. If I like once I get a job, I'll feel more settled. Like it was just like baby steps. And the first Sunday, like I did chicken out of going to like the church. The church literally is down the street from me. I was like, I'll just watch, church online because I still want to be at the chapel. Like the chapel is all I've known. And the next Sunday, I thought about doing that, and I was like, no, you're gonna go to the church. Like you're just gonna go, because if you go, like people will start to notice that you're coming more and more. And that's kind of just like what I did, and like getting plugged in of like just going to YA, which is young adults for people that don't know. And like that's where I met my first friend, because I sat by myself, right? I went in there, I didn't talk to anybody, sat in a row that had two chairs, and with the intent, I don't want anybody to sit next to me. I don't want anybody to sit next to me. And she was like, "Do you want to join us?" And I was like, "I guess, like this is happening." And that's where I got, a friend. And then I went to the retreat and met a couple new other people, and like I'm just like, oh, I'm getting like more plugged in like each time I go. So
It's so
yeah.
good. What stands out to me about that is like the small steps. It's like it didn't all just happen like instantly, but you like
Right.
took small steps to put yourself out there. And it also reminds me of like as we're in our spaces, wherever it is, work, school, church, like do we have eyes to see who might be new or lonely or by themselves? Like, are we looking outward? Because there are people like you all over that are joining new spaces, and it's like, are we welcoming them and are we seeing them where they're at? Because that's really powerful. That girl noticed you.
Yeah. Which that was not the goal.
You're so funny. You don't want anyone to
But
see you, just wanted to sneak in and out.
I did, and then I started to realize, I'm like, why are you like retreating to your old ways? Like you did this in Illinois.
Mm,
Like like if you're gonna like if I'm gonna like move down here, like I want to change. I've already changed most of my life. Like now let's just change everything. Like I don't want to keep being the same person that I came down here as. Like I want to be someone like new, like changed, and like I can't do that if I'm going to keep going back to like I don't want to be known, but like secretly I do want to be known, you know?
yeah.
So like her seeing me, I was like, dang, like someone sees me.
Mm, wow. That's powerful. In this transition, how has God met you?
Um he I think he's just like met me in like showing, um, just like me, I don't know, just like a new way to like kind of live. I feel like um, I have lived most of my life just like I'm afraid to commit. So I live 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like I don't want to put both feet in. Um, I'm not the person that will like jump in the cold pool. Like I will take a step by step. And I feel like that's just like not like that wasn't getting me anywhere. Like back in Illinois, like I wanted to live in like my worldly life and my Christian life, and I couldn't do both because it was like almost in the sense of like you're living lukewarm. Like you're not hot nor you're cold. And it wasn't until I went to this retreat at my church here in Florida that like I have to like close that chapter in Illinois to live fully in Florida. Like I can't live like 1 foot one in, 1 foot out in the sense of just like I'm 1,200 miles away. I cannot like I can be a part of stuff if I go home. If I go home on a worship night, like I can go. But like I can't like keep flying back and forth to go to conferences and retreats and worship nights. Like that's just not realistic. And like this church offers the same thing. So why am I not getting plugged in here? You know, like I can like live a full life and build a life down here if I just put 2 feet in. And that's just like something where I feel like God's like, you can trust me in this.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, just showing up in that way of just like, I'm here for you. Like I won't leave you. Like I didn't just bring you down here to be like, peace out, have fun.
Yeah.
Like it just trust. Can you just trust me a little bit? Like you
Yeah.
always say you want to trust me, but you never do. So like now you have to. And I'm just like, okay, okay, I got it.
Aw, you do
So
trust him. I've watched your journey. Yeah.
yeah. I mean I guess a little bit, but I want like a like trusting him like with everything. Like I'm still like I'm 6 weeks in, I'm still jobless, you know, like trusting him with like you will provide for me. You
Yeah.
know, you are gonna lead me where you want me to go. It's just something that I've never really done. And
Yeah.
now it's just like I have to like believe that he's gonna provide a way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's really powerful. I was just reminded of a story I heard from a friend last night. Their car was totaled, and it was like a really meaningful car to them. Like it was kind of a God story of how they got it. And so they like felt so heartbroken. And instead of just like going out and buying a new car, they're like actually making space and like waiting and letting God like guide them in the process and like asking God for another God story for this car. And I think in moments of transition, it's like actually this like there's this beautiful space that it feels vulnerable because it's like unknown and all of those things, but you're actually making space for like God to show up. And so even in like your job, I know you're like doing the steps, you're applying, you're going on interviews, you're
right,
doing what you can do, but you're also like creating this space for him to like lead and guide. And even though it
right,
feels vulnerable, it's like it's neat because I know he's going to show up. And like if you look back at your life to see how he's shown up, you like like it's
right.
going to be awesome. And so I just love like I love that you're leaning into trust because it's just it makes life more fun. And as you get to know his nature more and more, it like I mean, I guess I don't know if it's ever easy, but you can look back in times where he's met you and
Yeah.
provided, you know. So I'm excited to see what he does, yeah, in your life. In Yaz, our girls group, we do something called God sightings every week, and it's kind of like where you see God in your life or in other people's lives. And it can be something like tiny, little detail, or like big miracle. Um, what is one of like your favorite God sightings since you've like arrived in Florida?
Um I think one of my I don't know, I guess one of my like it's a favorite right now is that um I got invited to go to this retreat and I like if you know anything about retreats, like if I would make friends, right? Like back home, I went to the young adults retreat and I didn't know anybody. I went and I like walked out with a friend and like a new community, and I was like, all right, like I can do this here too. But it's like I was like, I don't really have retreat money. Like I don't have retreat money. I just moved here. And you FaceTimed me like one day and like got to chat, and I got to tell you guys like, oh, I went to like young adults and blah blah blah. And um it's just like God provided a way with like Lynn of like, hey, like I'll like help pay for this because I, to be a part of your adventure. And I was like, if it wasn't for her, like I don't think I would have gone because I didn't really have the funds for it, you know? And so it's just, I think that's just like, she like showed up and like God provided in that way. And then God was able to like show me other things along like that retreat. And I got to like meet people. So I think that's just like one of the ways one of the ways God has been showing up, I guess, since being
Yeah,
in Florida.
I
So
love that. That's amazing. Like, yeah, it's amazing. Like those little, so like Lynn probably felt nudged by God to do that, and then look at the like everything that came off of that, like
right,
her, yeah, giving. That's powerful, and that's super powerful that we get to do that for each other. And like when we're in community, then other people know you have a need because you share, and then they can meet the need, and it is like how it's meant to be, you know?
yeah.
So this is kind of random, but I feel like God is like putting a question in my head. What do you love about yourself, Donna?
Oh, uh, hmm, that's like a tough question.
Yeah.
I think like I love about myself is that like I feel like I can connect to a lot of people. I can connect to others easily, and I'm like a people person, so I think that's something I love about myself.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah. One more thing.
just and
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
And one more thing. What
Oh,
else?
one more thing.
Yeah.
Dang. Uh, I think I love my humor. I think I'm pretty funny.
Hmm.
I feel like I can always get people to laugh, so it's like
Yes.
something I love. I feel like it helps break the ice. I think
Mhm.
when like meeting new people or like connecting with others or like being in a new small group or whatever, like I think just like some humor like helps like take away that like stress or anxiety like and just makes everybody comfortable, and I think that's like something I love about
Yeah.
me.
Yes. I love that about you too. It's you are so funny and you could have your own podcast for sure. Donna and I used to record these videos after a small group called Question Time with Donna. And sometimes she'd have this little tiny microphone and it would be so funny. And I just think, it was just such a picture of like, yeah, who you are and like freedom and just joy and fun. And so I'd love to just end our time with Question Time with Donna.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of a question. Um, do you have a question that we could ask you?
No, I don't.
Fun. Okay. Well, we could go back to the one we did.
Oh gosh.
How do we ask it? Who would you want to date from the Bible?
Oh, I have no idea. Hmm.
You were in Bible times and you were like, a babe girl helping out at the well or whatever, tending the sheep, and
Tending the sheep.
Mr.
I will not be tending the sheep. Will not be me.
Okay, you're
um,
waiting for the Egyptian man or whatever in the castle, in the palace.
the palace. Probably okay, so probably I don't know what their names are though. Probably one of the disciples. I've been watching The Chosen. I just feel like I like some of the characters of like who they are, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think who one I would want to date be. Maybe who's Simon's brother, Andrew?
Mhm.
Maybe him, just because I feel like he does have like faith and like he also shows that he cares. Like like seriously cares about John the Baptist. Like he's
Yeah,
worried for him and like he just seems like compassionate. So
yeah.
I would
Andrew,
want
I
a
love
guy
it.
like that.
I love that. It's so fun. Oh, so good. Yeah, Donna has the best, like, I mean, you could be a stand-up comedian, I think.
I
You
don't
really
know. I feel like you have to come up with a lot of stuff on your own, and I just feel like I bounce off other people's energy.
true. Maybe like improv more so.
Maybe. I don't know. We can all stay tuned to see if I get my own podcast called The Daily Dish with Donna.
The Daily Dish with Donna, you heard it here first. That'd be so good. You're the best. Any last words of wisdom for our listeners? Anything on your heart? Anything you want to share as we close?
um, hmm. Probably just like I and this is something that like I'm still, doing and learning to do is just like staying in the race, like with like God. I just heard this message yesterday from the pastor at my church of just like you're going to go through like hard times and it's reality, but like all that's going to produce endurance and that's going to produce like character and then produce hope where eventually like you'll be able to bring that hope with you to like restart that process. And so like even though it's hard right now, like just essentially just keep your eye on the prize, which is like God. And so yeah.
So good. That's such a good message. Would you pray for that, people, just for people to stay in the race and
Oh,
anything
you
else
want
on
me
your
to
heart?
pray?
Yeah, girl, you could do this.
Oh gosh.
You got
Sure.
it.
All right. Dear God, just thank you for this time with Lauren and for this podcast that but it would just reach people who just really need to hear it and need the encouragement to, keep going and keep fighting. God, I would just ask that you'd be with those people who are struggling right now, that they would just feel your presence and your love. Uh, I pray that they would just take that bold step and just start getting plugged in and that people would see them wherever they go, that they wouldn't feel alone anymore. I pray for Lauren, just that she is able to keep reaching out to people and sharing people's stories. I know it's making a difference. And um, yeah, just pray for just the people that this podcast is going to, whoever's going to hear this podcast, that they just feel your presence, God, and they are, encouraged with some hope and that you'll never leave them and stuff. So I just pray all this in your name. Amen.
Amen. So good. Thank you, Donna. Such a joy to connect with you.
Of
Thanks for sharing
course.
your heart.
No problem.
Can't wait for the daily dish.
Oh, yeah. One day, one day.
Love it. Thanks, Donna.